In the deep heart of Kruger National Park in South Africa, early morning light touched the tall grass. Birds were just starting to sing, and the cool air smelled fresh. But on that quiet road, something terrible was happening. A little boy, no older than 4, sat all alone. His name was Thabo, and his tiny shoulders shook as he cried. His sobs echoed through the empty wild. No cars passed. No people came. Only endless bush surrounded him. How Thabo got there was a mystery. This wasn't a place for children. But then, deep in the thick bushes, a low growl broke the morning calm. From the shadows stepped Sephew, a huge male lion. His golden eyes locked on the boy. Every muscle in Sephew's body was strong and tense as he moved closer, his heavy paws silent on the dirt. Thabo's cries grew louder, his fear rising. The wild was full of dangers, and now a lion was coming straight at him. Each step Sephew took made the air feel colder, the danger more real. But just when it felt like there was no hope, something strange happened. Sephew stopped a few feet away. He didn't leap or roar. Instead, he stood still, watching the boy closely. There was something about Thabo's helpless cries that made the lion hesitate. Was it the sound of pain? Or was it because Sephew had once known kindness from humans? Years ago, a ranger named Cabello had saved Sephew when he was just a cub. Poachers had killed his mother, and Cabello raised him until he was strong enough to live wild again. Yet, even now, Sephew sometimes stayed close to the areas where humans walked. Sephew sniffed the air, catching Thabo's scent. It was new, strange, and sad. He circled the boy slowly, muscles tight, but his eyes calm. Thabo, still wiping tears from his face, didn't even notice at first how near the lion had come. Then, Sephew opened his mouth and let out a deep roar that shook the ground. The sound echoed across the park like thunder. Thabo froze. His cries stopped. For the first time, their eyes met, a scared boy and a powerful beast staring at each other. But this was an attack. Sephew's roar wasn't meant to scare the boy. It was a message, though no human could understand its meaning. The lion's strong body stayed near, but he didn't harm Thabo. Instead, he paced around him, alert, watching the trees and shadows. It was as if Sephew had taken on the role of a guardian. His golden eyes flickered left and right, as though searching for danger that might come for the boy. And in that strange moment, the vast wilderness of Kruger Park held its breath. A lion and a child stood together, locked in an unspoken connection. What would happen next, no one could guess. But the wild had more surprises waiting. Meanwhile, far from the boy and the lion, Cabello, a young ranger, was patrolling the park in his jeep. It was just another normal day for him. Or so he thought. He drove through the vast Kruger National Park, a place he knew like the back of his hand. Birds flew above, and the wind brushed through the trees. But Cabello's mind was focused on his route, unaware of the danger ahead. As he turned a corner, something made his heart race. He saw it in the distance, the large form of Sephew, the lion, standing tall. But there was something wrong. Sephew was not hunting or prowling through the wild like usual. He was standing still, watching. And in front of him, sitting on the ground, was Thabo. Cabello's breath caught in his chest. His eyes widened as he quickly slammed on the brakes. His hands gripped the steering wheel, heart pounding. He knew this lion well. Sephew was not a stranger, but now, something felt different. This wasn't the fierce predator he had once saved. This was a lion protecting. Cabello jumped out of the jeep, his boots thudding softly on the dirt. He moved slowly, his every step careful. Sephew was standing right in front of Thabo, blocking him. The boy was still, his tear-streaked face looking up at the massive lion. A feeling of dread mixed with confusion ran through Cabello. What was going on here? Why hadn't the lion attacked? For a moment, Cabello stood frozen, watching. Sephew's golden eyes didn't leave Thabo. There was no aggression, no growl, just calm, steady protection. Cabello had seen lions act before. They were always wild and unpredictable, especially when it came to humans. But this was something new. The silence stretched on, thick with tension. Cabello's mind raced. Was the boy safe? Was the lion guarding him, or just waiting for something? Slowly, Cabello took a step forward, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Thabo, are you okay?" The boy didn't move or speak. His eyes were wide, full of fear, but strangely calm. He didn't seem to mind the lion standing so close. Cabello's heart softened. The boy looked so small and lost. Cabello crouched down a little, trying to get on Tabo's level. "It's okay," he said gently. "You're safe now." His voice was soft, almost soothing, but the boy didn't respond. He just shook his head, his small hands clutching a torn teddy bear. Cabello's stomach sank. The boy wasn't just lost, he was alone. His parents, where were they? Just then, Sefiu's head turned slightly. The lion let out a low growl, not directed at Cabello, but at something else in the distance. The growl wasn't angry or threatening. It was a warning. Cabello knew the sound well. It was a sound that meant stay away. Cabello's eyes darted around. What was happening? Was there danger nearby? Had the boy's family been attacked? A chill ran down Cabello's spine. The thought made his stomach twist. Cabello moved slowly, his hand reaching into his pocket for his radio. But as he did, Sefiu growled again, louder this time, a clear message. Cabello froze. The lion was still standing guard, eyes locked on him, but it wasn't moving. It was almost as if Sefiu understood. Cabello whispered softly, "It's okay, Sefiu. I've got this." And just like that, Sefiu's growl softened. He stepped back, giving Cabello space. The tension lifted, but the mystery of what was happening remained. Cabello stood up slowly, his eyes on the boy. Tabo's wide eyes met his, and for the first time, the boy seemed to take a small breath. He was still scared, but now he wasn't alone. Tabo stood slowly, clutching his teddy bear. Cabello knelt down to him, his voice calm and gentle. "Where's your family, Tabo?" he asked, trying to meet the boy's eyes. The boy didn't answer. He only shook his head. Cabello felt his heart ache. The silence told him everything he needed to know. Tabo wasn't just lost. He had no one. As Cabello stood there with Tabo, the quiet seemed endless. The boy was clearly lost and alone in the vast wilderness of Kruger National Park, and Cabello's heart ached with each passing second. But just as he was about to speak again, a noise broke the silence. The distant sound of an engine. A jeep. It was coming fast. Cabello's head turned sharply. He knew it was another ranger. Someone had to be looking for the boy. Could it be David, one of the other rangers? David had been searching for Tabo since he was reported missing by his parents hours earlier. Cabello's mind raced. Tabo's family, what had happened to them? The jeep appeared around the corner, kicking up dust in the air. Cabello's breath caught when he saw the familiar face behind the wheel. It was David. As soon as David saw the scene before him, Sefiu standing near Tabo, Cabello crouched beside the boy. His eyes widened in disbelief. David slammed on the brakes, and the jeep skidded to a stop. He jumped out, his voice filled with concern. "Is he okay?" David asked, his face full of worry. He moved quickly toward Cabello and Tabo, but his eyes never left the lion. Cabello nodded, his hand still on Tabo's small shoulder. "He's safe now, but we need to get him out of here." David glanced at Sefiu, his face full of confusion. The lion, once so fierce and wild, was standing at the edge of the road, watching quietly, as though keeping a careful distance. It was like he knew his job was done. The fear that had once filled the air seemed to disappear. David moved closer to Tabo, holding out his hand. "Come on, little guy," he said gently. "We'll get you home." Tabo didn't speak, but he reached out, taking David's hand. The boy looked up at him with wide, scared eyes, but didn't resist. As David helped him toward the jeep, Cabello couldn't help but look back at Sefiu. The lion was still there, watching them, his golden eyes glowing faintly in the light. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. The boy, so small and alone, was now walking towards safety. But Cabello knew there was more to this than just finding the child. There was something deeper, something that connected Sefiu to Tabo. The lion had protected him without hesitation. David guided Tabo into the jeep, but as they all started to drive away, Cabello glanced at Sefiu one last time. The lion remained still, his gaze fixed on the jeep as it moved further away. It was almost like he was saying goodbye. The jeep rumbled down the dusty road, the noise filling the air. Cabello followed closely behind, his thoughts swirling. What had really happened to Tabo's family? How had they ended up in the park? And why had Sephi stepped in to protect the boy? There had to be more to the story. But as they drove toward the park's main gate, Cabello couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed forever. That morning had started like any other, but now it was different. The bond between humans and the wild, the deep connection between Cabello and Sephi, and the unexpected protection of a small boy. It was something Cabello would never forget. The truth about what happened to Tabo's family would soon be revealed. But that day, how a lion had chosen to protect a lost boy would stay with Cabello forever. It was a rare and mysterious moment, one that would change the way people saw the wild and the creatures who called it home. And as they left the park behind, Cabello couldn't help but wonder. Had Sephi known something they didn't? Had he sensed a danger long before anyone else? The wild, as Cabello knew too well, was full of secrets. Animals teach us the true meaning of love, pure, unconditional, and limitless. Their hearts beat in harmony with the wild, reminding us that love knows no boundaries. Let's protect them, honor their beauty, and cherish every moment. Please remember to like and subscribe for more heartwarming stories and animal love.